Okay, our 89th regular session is now called to order. Okay, so let us all put our presence in the name of the Lord. Para kita mga di. Okay, the Honorable Lana Anacta, kindly lead the prayer, Lana. Shall let short.
Let us put ourselves in the presence of the Lord. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Dear Lord, we offer this gathering to you and ask you to bless it with your wisdom and grace. We thank you for this opportunity to be together to learn our love and service of you and of each other. We ask you to enlighten our minds to know what is true and just, and strengthen our wills to carry out it faithfully that we come to see as our duties. May all our thoughts, words, and actions be directed to making your name and your love better known among men for the sanctification and their happiness here and in eternity. Amen. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
Sige po.
Okay, I'm gonna call the roll. Honorable Emman Tiu Sonco.
Present.
Honorable Maria Rosindi Daza. Honorable Dr. Katrina Anacta Sadac.
Present.
Honorable Lyra Limbauan.
Present.
Honorable Atty. Kathlyn Cainday.
Present.
Honorable Engineer Melcho Arago. Honorable GLAIZA.
Present.
Honorable Renato C. Bagakay.
Present.
Honorable Atty. Byron suyot. Honorable Kurt
Present.
Honorable Escoto.
Present.
Honorable Cainday.
Present.
Honorable Anacta.
Present.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Mr. Presiding Officer, 12 esteemed members are present. It's consist of quorum. You'll proceed.
So it's attested by our secretary that there are 12 members present. So the chair declares that we have a quorum. Next item, Mr. Secretary.
Approval of the order of business.
The Madam Floor Leader.
Honorable Presiding Officer, I would like to propose several motions to include in our order of business. First is I move that we include in our order of business a request to Secretary Wendell Avesado from the DBM for a funding support for our street lighting project in Borongan City amounting to 50 million pesos.
Any second? Any objections? And so motion is approved. Any more amendments? The Madam Floor Leader. The Honorable Daza first, and then Honorable Suyot.
Thank you, Mr. Presiding Officer. I would like to include a resolution respectfully recommending to the Sangguniang Panlungsod through the Chairperson of Committee on Laws and Rules, City Councilor Maria Rosenda Daza, the naming of P. Limbauan Street, extension corner of San Fernando Street up to Campisao Road, Borongan City Public Market as Sergio T. Escoto Street.
Any objections? None. So motion is approved. Any more amendments? Honorable Suyot.
Thank you, Mr. Presiding Officer. Actually, I have two agenda to be included, supposed to be included in our session today. One is the request of the city mayor, request to the amendment of a provision under our annual budget from road opening to road concreting, and the other is the reversion of my salary savings and my bonus, and including my rata, OOGS. That is all.
In a second.
Thank you.
Any
Second.
objections? None. So motion is approved. Any more amendments? Alright,
Honorable Presiding Officer,
Madam Floor Leader.
I move that we include under other matters a report from our RH representatives, including our IATF chairman, regarding our COVID situation in Borongan City.
In a second. None. So
Seconded.
objections? None. So motion is approved. Go ahead. Continue, Honorable Madam Floor Leader.
Honorable Presiding Officer, I move for the approval of our order of business as amended.
Seconded.
Any objections? All right. So our order of business for today is hereby approved as amended. Next item, Mr. Secretary.
Reading and consideration of the minutes of the regular session held last June 9, 2021.
Okay, so the minutes was emailed to you by our secretary. So any comments, any corrections, suggestions? Right, so Madam Floor Leader.
Honorable Presiding Officer, I move for the approval of the minutes of the regular session held on June 9, 2021.
Seconded.
Any objection? None. So the minutes of the previous session is now approved. Next item, Mr. Secretary, please.
We now move on to the new business under proposed ordinance. We have an ordinance utilizing the savings derived from the unobligated compensation and related personal services costs pertaining to salary savings from the Office of Honorable Kurt Atty for the month of January to April 2021, amounting to 20,000 pesos only.
So, Madam Floor Leader.
I move for the inclusion of the said proposed ordinance for second reading.
Seconded.
Objections? None. So motion is approved. Next item, Mr. Secretary.
Next is the reversion of request for the reversion of the savings of Honorable Suyot, the bonus and the rata to
Madam Floor Leader.
Honorable Presiding Officer, I move for the inclusion for second reading of the proposed ordinance.
Seconded.
Objections? None. So motion is approved. Next item, Mr. Secretary.
request to the mayor for the amendment of the budget road concreting to road.
Road opening to road concreting.
Okay, Madam Floor Leader.
Honorable Presiding Officer, I move for the inclusion of the said proposed ordinance for second reading.
Any objections?
Seconded.
None. So next item, Mr. Secretary.
Come to a proposed resolution. We have the proposed resolution requesting the Honorable Secretary Wendell E. Abisado of DBM for funding support for street lighting project consisting of 428 units of solar street lights in the city of Borongan, amounting to 50 million pesos.
Seconded.
Madam Floor Leader.
Honorable Presiding Officer, this resolution, for information of this honorable body, was pushed by our Honorable Presiding Officer, our Vice Mayor, Emman Tiu Sonco, for a funding request from DBM. It will be very beneficial to Borongan City for our safety and security. And I move that we pass and approve this resolution requesting DBM for a funding support amounting to 50 million.
Unanimously seconded.
Any objections? None. So the proposed resolution is now approved. Next item, Mr. Secretary.
Proposed resolution naming Limbauan Street into Sergio Escoto Street.
Madam Floor Leader.
Honorable Presiding Officer, this request was forced through the Office of Honorable Daza. Since this would need, I think, legal discussions on the matter, I move that we refer the matter to the Committee on Laws and Rules chaired by Honorable Daza.
Okay. Any objections? None. So refer to Laws and Rules. Next item, Mr. Secretary, please.
We now come to business study for second reading. We have an ordinance utilizing the savings from obligated compensation related personal services cost pertaining to the savings of Honorable Court Triantry for the month of April to January to April amounting to 20,000 pesos.
Floor leader.
Honorable Presiding Officer, this request is with a certification from our budget officer of the availability of the fund. I therefore move that we pass and approve this proposed ordinance on second reading.
Seconded.
None. So the proposed reversion is now approved on second reading. Madam Floor
Honorable
leader.
Officer, I consequently move for the inclusion of the said proposed ordinance for third reading.
Any objections?
Seconded.
So, Madam Floor, Mr. Secretary, please take note. Next item, po, please.
Next is the request for reversion of the savings of bonus and rata of Honorable Suyot.
Madam Floor leader. Honorable Suyot.
Thank you, Mr. Presiding Officer. I would like to move for the approval on second reading my request for reversion for my salary savings, including rata and bonus for the months of January to June. I so move, Mr. Presiding Officer.
Seconded.
Any objections?
Thank you.
None. So the motion is approved, included approved on second reading. Madam Floor leader.
Honorable Presiding Officer, I move for the inclusion of the said proposed
Ito.
ordinance for the reversion of the salary savings and other funds of Honorable Suyot for third reading.
Any objections?
Seconded.
None. So motion is approved. Take note again, Mr. Secretary. Next item, po, please.
Request
Ikaw, paglinabay-labay.
for the amendment in the 2021 annual budget, the road opening for concreting.
The Honorable Suyot, kindly.
Thank you, Mr. Presiding Officer. Based on the request of the Mayor, I would like to move for the approval of an amendment to our 2021 annual budget as to nomenclature with respect to the road opening of the project of road opening of Barangay Baras amounting to 8 million. The same be renamed to road concreting to isolation facility at Barangay Campisao, Borongan City. I move for the
Seconded.
approval on the second reading.
Any objections? None. So the motion is approved. Okay. So Madam Floor leader, kindly move for.
Honorable Presiding Officer, I move for the inclusion under third reading of the proposed ordinance for the amendment of the budget.
Objections?
Seconded.
Objections? None. So motion is approved. Next item, Mr. Secretary.
For third reading, the ordinances which I mentioned a while ago, that is for third reading, Presiding Officer. So we move on to the other matter. We have an update for border update regarding the COVID-19, the vaccination and the facilities.
Point of order, Honorable Presiding Officer.
Continue. What is your point of order, Honorable Cainday?
As we have our RHU personnel still consolidating the data, and we already have Dr. John Adrian Ang here with us. I move that we first discuss under other matters in an update regarding our ASF situation in Borongan City.
Seconded.
Any objections?
Seconded.
Alright. None. Sige. So motion is approved. Unang tala na Dr. John Ang at City Agriculturist. So, Madam
Honorable
Floor.
Presiding Officer, I move we suspend our internal rules of procedure so that we can allow our representatives and our spokespeople for different issues to speak before the session.
Seconded.
Second motion.
Objections? None. So our internal rules have been temporarily suspended. Sige. So, Honorable, we have here our City Agriculturist, Dr. John Ang. Doc, paki-update kami na kung ano na aton situation regarding hining aton ASF. Natin kaharanin na.
Yes, good morning. Good morning, Honorable Councils. At aton po yan na African swine fever. Last it aton na ginbabantayan is an aton border. Kasi as we all know, may na outbreak Dolores, Eastern Samar. So, iyan na, may na mabati na namak, may na magibabantayan na naman kung hasulat. Medyo na tikli na
Karani na.
So, yan, may data border control, sigit atin pag berik-berik mga farm kasi ang tugunhan region was to geotag nga tanan hit atin mga hog racer sa Borongan. So yan ongoing it at geotagging hit atin mga hog racers. Unfortunately, ang atin mga geotagger nagpositive man COVID, naka-quarantine hirayana.
Adoy.
So bali 50% yan at akin staff naka-quarantine. Bali, 2 na akin staff na nag-positive and the rest are naka-home quarantine. So yan naudang natin geotagging kasi ang naka-assign na to hidukli Kamputo, which is yan naka-quarantine. So ang purpose itong geotagging, in case magkamay ada outbreak sa Borongan, maramgitit atin
Kanto.
radius o kung hain kita magkakaling. So mahatag na makin update yan kasi in kaso kung tamaan kita timba ko Borongan, diri na mahatag in indemnification and national. Bali diri na mahatag in payment. Ang mahatagan payment and PCIC na ang Philippine Crop
Insurance Corporation.
Pero I am just a little bit concerned kasi daman era inaaro nga mga condition. Kailangan may data existing barangay bantay ESF sa barangay program, which I think will need some ordinance from the council. So last week pala nam hibaruan last week. So yan naging program ang matag kami proposal kung ta council kung anit mo pa nga ordinance. Okay. Tapos next is kailangan biosecurity 1 may data mga biosecurity officers taga barangay set iragin laaro ito na region para maka-avail kita ito nga PCIC program hiton indemnification in kaso tamaan kita. So actually inaro nila bantay SF program sa barangay tapos kailangan may mga biosecurity officers taga barangay. So actually titiray na araw. So for yan Borongan negative pa kita ito na swine fever. It then ginahalapan is from the north kay Tipakanhiman. So bali makurit at pagkonhit aton boundary kay tapan natin nadadaray tao, nadadaray langaw. So diri kita nakaka 100% itong checkpoint. Diri gud siya totally nakaka-prevent pag iton ito na SF pattern. So asya tak may hatag update yan so far.
So, Doc, question lang. Ano didahas sulat? Saan tayo babarola?
Itong sulat is panlet hiya. Kumbaga, we will wait for the confirmation kasi it will depend ito na city agriculturist to municipal agriculturist sulat. Kung mag-report hiya province, region, the region personnels will come to sulat tapos mag-blood collection itira. Tapos itetest itong blood kung positive talaga or diri. So yan depende na dito sa sulat kung nagtawag hirahin help from the region kung nagkuan hira. So yan akin concern is Borongan kung may nagpapatay talaga kasi number 1 naging babantayan. Birik pagkita yan na Borongan sige at monitor. So asa kung ang gamit na geotagging, ang unang na geotag nang was di Binubo, Bugas, nagka-carline na konta kami kay nag-positive man ni Doclea. So na-admit pala.
Sorry pa. Honorable Suyot, sige. You have the floor. Kindly unmute.
Salamat Dok dyan mo pag-attend rin namon session kasi ginadako nga buligamon nga enlightened kami na itong sitwasyon yung pagtagay-ISF. Actually, inevitable na ito na makakadatong ito nga niha aton na Borongan. Itak na laluluo yan, itaton mga growers, itaton mga negosyante nga na depender hini nga livestock kasi kairo ito nira. Asa nga ni nasubo na makita niya na ngayong revelation kasi nakadto ha province sa season ng taga PCIC. Kaya ano daw lang nga pakayharanin na Borongan, nag-impose rin additional requirement para la maka-avail han bulig han PCIC nga han iba nga mga bungto wala mahito nga requirement tanuna. Anira man lang ani siring nga gini-encourage gani nira nga tanan iton mga livestock growers nga i-enroll iton aton mga kabaktinan, bisan anong hayop ha era para ma-indemnify kung in kaso mapiktuan ni sugahin ng mga piste. Kasalita akon lahi iton yan an hiunong naman damahiton nga pagtaga ano to ang mga ESF kuan na barangay itakon na iton even a resolution will do. What is important is that we have already existing guidelines or policy at the city government level kung anong tayo pagtaga din nga problema. Anaton lahi iton din pag-strengthen haton ang mga kabarangayan. Kaya kita nga nagmo-monitor nga pinurpotera ni taton mga areas kadi kita ini masulod nga piste kay akon pag ginalaw an presentation padaman han aton provincial agriculturist nga veterinarian gidadako ini nga kawaran ni taton ekonomiya din niya isang samaran din niya Borongan gidadako nga industry nga livestock nga maiigo nira gidadako iton sanglit kung ano itaton may bubulig iton aton mga growers nga maka-avail ra PCIC kasi na amount ito niyan 14,000 an kanan DA na kuan malay ito niya 5,000 asa yan nagin-increase na niya adi din na kita PCIC kaya dakuin nga bulig itaton mga ang problema lang iba di mag-aram sanglit itaton duk diyan nga mabuligan ta anaton nakabarangayan pabulig kita kan tatay rin ABC taton SK ang dissemination nga mga barangayan mga livestock ipa-enroll naton para in kaso may mga piste nga suga din nga iisip nga magdumatong it aton mga kabarangayan, mapiktuhan na natin mga negosyo, at least may indemnify ra. Diri good sugar itat aabaton. Pero it economic loss, repercussion na aton, halaba iton. Kasi tag 1 year, di ba, Dok? Kung tama ako, tag 1 year, nga wara iton pagpapataman. Maiha, sanglit dakik ta abaton na tat mga negosyante. Ang importante, han first impact, may data era, diretso may bubulig. Ngan maproteran daman nila, maasistihan tayo. Kasalit takon, Dok. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Honorable Suyot. So, any more question, comments, suggestions at an city veterinary officer?
Mapakianak.
Oh,
Okay lang.
go ahead, Honorable Suyot. Sige, continue.
Last question, Attorney Kat. Dok dyan, mapakianak lang. Itaton din ni kabaktinan, magpera ba? Haborongan la, Borongan. Pera itaton baktin, haborongan. Iti kung may data record, kung may data datos.
Ano aton last data was 2017 ano.
Okay.
Waray pa naman atitaken na computer.
Estimate na.
Anak itak na estimate lugod an akan gin meeting han una nga mga hog raisers was around
Okay.
340 hera nga mga hog raisers. Now,
Okay, peran
dito nam data na average sirahin tag-upat taga racer. Tag-upat na rin na ataman. So 340 times
4.
4 more or less asset iton kuan. An amon pala recorded ng mga hog racers ano kay with the help kuan nag-meeting mga last December. So nag-attend an era kuan haken mas may dat nira tag-upat minimum upat. An iba tag walo na kulo. So door na mo pa pero yan kay wala ta naman supply from other region medyo napapalit naman din makusig naman yan ay pamalitan kay ani naman tatin ko so siguro mga around if I'm not mistaken ano mga 2,000 1,000 1,500
Dok Jan, thank you to ni information kasi ang revelation na amon concerning la iton ang revelation taga PCIC ang ira allocated for Eastern Samar is 19 million only. Ito nga aton niya na heads nga hakanan Borongan alone already amounts to 19,040,000 pesos. So ang ira pundo nga gin-allocate kukulangan pa niya Borongan. So kinahanglan magmubar kita maghimo kita ng resolution kay surayan ta ang PCIC ma-request kita national additional funding for Eastern Samar. Kasi kairoan iba nga mga bungto kairoid Borongan dinha Borongan iba naman yung mga grisas kay pakakatagamtam. Kay supposed to be dapat iton hera makukusyon naman lang impact kini nga era kay economically devastating in iton aton mga growers nga aton ekonomiya in the long run.
Actually
okay lang ikaw na lang pag
Yes,
Nakikahit ko.
actually kasi may mga kwanton mga veterinarian, mga city veterinarians, nag-file kami motion nga to region nga dira ora maging strictohon kasi
Okay.
yan na ongoing pitam geotagging kasi ang iragin require kasi kailangan may bantay SF sa barangay. Pag waray kuno bantay SF sa barangay, diri makaka-availiton karang PCIC indemnification. So gisisay ko naman nag-file kami motion nga ayaw na kang pag-instricto kay diri pa andam kami kay ng mga barangay wala pa kami pakapagbutang hiton nga
Wala.
bantay ESF. Tapos next an era kuan
Anaton nga ni Dog Jan, anaton ang pag-increasehan pundo. Pag-increase
Yes,
dapat ang pundo ang PCIC nga niya ato na Eastern Samar na niya Borongan.
Yes, actually kukulangan niya 19 million kung tamaan kita kasi
19 million la.
kasi PCIC kasi is 10,000 per head. Pag registered ka PCIC, PCIC yes. Pag tinamaan ka hiton ESF, tatagang ka 10,000. Taga-usahit imo baboy kung registered ka PCIC. So simba ko tamaan kita.
In-increase na niya to 14,000.
Ako siya matika kulang ito nga kuan ito nga
Pundo.
Kulangan.
So
Pundo.
more or less haborongan lang ani iton nga ano kung tamaan kita kay
Kasi papa-sponsoran ko ni na province substation in resolution kay increase it allocation at PCIC nga niya Eastern Samar. Kasi ana ako nakikikinalawan di ba Dog Jan 250 million ang yung presentation dito nga at meeting ha bye-bye. 250 million in nga industry din nga Eastern Samar. Ginadako iton tapos kun itira pundo is only 90 million. Di gayt makakakuan hiton nga tanan.
si attorney
Ma-request kita ako.
yeah iton kasi iton na is iton nga allocation is based national kasi right na kuan right na I don't know kung itaten kuan paayong kita nga office ma-request iton.
Sige la. Kaya sponsor ka resolution. Sponsoran ko.
Okay.
Honorable Presiding Officer.
Yes, continue. Go ahead, Honorable Cainday. Honorable Cainday.
I have a question, ano kandok dyan ang, kasi it seems like it is imminent nga, di ba nga may nga niya Borongan, it nga ESF. So, how are we doing with our, kasi I remember during the last time that we had an opportunity to ask you for an update at an ESF, that your office is trying to, kumbaga, manage natin possible nga lack of supply hit-meet din
Yan Honorable Cainday, kasi may data kuan existing nga EO from the City Mayor and Province nga bago kita magpasalid. So yan ita concern kasi nga aton yan na pagpadamit at baktin is local muna. Wala na mapag-encourage actually damit nagkakadi opisina nga kare kunta mag-availhin loan kare nira magbaktinan. So although wala ko na nahira tutuyangi actually kay that's a very risky man yan So akin niya naging encourage itong mga existing na nga mga hog raisers nga mag-produce rin damo. But an era naman concern was paano kung tamaan kami. So
mabigat yan.
I talked to Mr. Lito Labro, hiyaman ko tayo pinakadaka din Borongan. Ang saying niya, nagme-maintain lang ko na hiya pag breeding. O di hiya nagdidinamo kay di na hiya nag-a-add hindam nga bak nga inahin kay bangin ko no tamaan ako. Dako ko no mawawara ha akin. So pwede man hiya magpa-insure the PCIC although naabot 100,000. Although nagpa-insured na hiya, 100,000 na hiya insurance, nagbayad man hiya additional premium. So, itamon move yan attorney, nag-i-encourage lakit mga existing ng mga hog raisers na continue breeding. Kasi ang iba kasi actually nag-stop na. Inadang nahira. Kay, tamaan ko no hira, lugi hira. So yan, gini-encourage ko lahira nga, hinahinay la, ay pag-expand, continue lagi pag breeding, ayaw lang pag dinamo anay kay bayan kaya tamaan mauubos ito mo stock. So yan na, as atang program yan na nag-encourage sila to ay nakaudang continue lang kamo steady la ay lang kamo pag-expand. So asalit akin kinuha. So yan na atin program yan na to maintain our supplies dinigila atin. Di pa man kita pwede kumuha dito ha Dolores. Yan na kay sige pa manit kuan. So within Borongan na atin yan na pag padamo atin na stock din maging sustainable kita.
So just a follow-up question to clarify kay if my memory serves me right parang ito nga may data kunuhat na sa rin ka mga alternative meat nga atan kung ta i-introduce in case magkulang at supply. Have we started doing something about this or diri na kailangan because currently okay let that supply even if we're not accepting supply of meat from other places.
Yan na may data yan na ongoing itatan kuan. Itako niya na program is our chicken breeding center. Daman itatan production niya na. So ongoing nakakapag-produce kita almost 1,000 chicks per month. So ongoing net yan na itatan kuan. So as an alternative, second is the goat breeding. Although kasi may dakula concern budget kasi diak marang kunhay na kukuha na breeding stock kunhay na fund kay diri man pwede hit akin na MOOE kay kailangan kuno capital outlay. So wala makpaka kay akin fund is only MOOE. So I'm requesting konta from mayor if makahatagihin fund para maka-start na kita hitatan breeding center hit goat kasi may data na facility ha barangay Gamada kulang nala ito na livestock. So may panang ginuhulat naman kunta ha BEI kay nasing matira nga mahatagihin worth 2 million nga goat. Pero yan waray pa man kami update kung ano na era anamon atan application. I think but the Vice Mayor Emman would can help follow up to era kay kana Senator Angara to hiyang grant. So itakang mo ta program is ang goat kay mas madagmit hiya ma-reproduce and the chicken. Itong cattle pwede pero the cattle will take us around 3 to 4 years pag multiply hindamot.
So siguro Doc John if we can make this an urgent matter kay bangan kita dat nga na din hihit nga at ASF and magkulang katahin supply the Sangguniang will be supportive naman ito nga i-move to ask for capital outlay para mas makapag-start na katat atin goat breeding to maybe anticipate our lack of supply of meat kung in case datang nahatan. So that's all, Honorable Presiding Officer.
Thank you, Honorable Cainday. Actually, Doc, speaking of goat, actually nagka-istorya kami kakil the other day, Monday, ang staff ni Senator Angara nagpa-follow up, nagpupumusta kung ano na. Kaya ang pondo na i-download naman ganyan ni BEI dahil June. Tapos tinawagan ko kakilop kay Dr. Bolo, naibalhin ko nuhihin ibang department dito. Tapos iya man ko natin follow up today, kaya wala hiya opisina, nakato na ko na yun field. So siguro magsangkay man kamo ang kay Dr. Bolo, okay, follow up na lang kung ano na.
Okay.
Okay, okay, parang ambot ang takalangan ni hire dida. Kaya na maharidyo ng pundo. So hero na lang dida at malangan. Diba? Palihugan na lang pag follow up.
Yes.
Thank you, Doc. Honorable Suyot, sige.
Thank you. Suggestion ko lang Doc Jan. Doc Jan, mo pa siguro ito kanina na-mention mo aton cattle breeding. Siguro yan na pala pag-start na kitang alternative meat iton hiya nga pagiging available din sa Borongan. Although long term hiya, pag-start na lang kita, at least pag-identify kung haintat ano itong pasturing area, pasture land, tapos pag-breeding kitahin cattle para maging available damay din niya atin. Kasugad nga ni dumatang nga iisip, out of the equation na ang mga baktin. So ada na lakitahan isda, ana trade meat, ada na lakitahan karabaw. Kung may daman pa trickling malline nga nadatungan niya atin baka kita ang suggestion Doc Jan, di kita mag-initiate na kita din niya Borongan nga long term natin nga plan para magkuang kitahin, padamot kitahin nga mga baka naman.
Noted.
That's all, Presiding Officer. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Atty. Any more questions from the other members of the Sangguniang? Ay papakyana? Honorable Bagakay?
Presiding Officer. With regards to that checkpoint though, kung pati ba karne nakukuha ang tariya at mga border, nag-check ta kung may nakakasulod.
Itong actually nakakuha kita pag aga itong mga checkpoint. Pero itong mga good take ang mga karne nga nadara lahit mga private cars, diri kita nakaka-monitor. Pero ito na mga dagke, nakaka-trace up kita.
Okay, maupay. Kasi bangin na sila maging outside at kuan nga para maproteheran tayo at
actually
mga grower din niya Borongan.
Anak kang kontat upon Honorable Bagakay. Anak kasi tidak nakikita kasi Dolores kasi nakikita lahat didaan kasi pag-usapan puro patron. Nakatuhan mga ako nagpuputos. Uli asyandaranaan mga karne. Di na kita kakakuhan nga dilit pagkalat talaga nga ASF.
Putos.
Kay uninfected manan kuan. Takay dito nagkalat lugod. Di na nit pagdamo.
Siya dirilan yung mga kuan.
Pati man
bakit nastadamanan ka ng mga tao na.
Yeah, delikado. So, Doc, again, pipira na din ha. Thank you, Honorable Bagakay. So, Doc, pipira natin hinga munisipyo na ESF.
Yan na, so far, undeclared kasi na region is only Dolores. Itong dito kuan, nag-wait and see packet. Kasi before nag-declare ang Dolores, maaramnak mga 2 weeks ago, maaramnak na nagpapatay. It will take some time pag declare nera. So dito sa region na hera na declare itong kuan positive ito na sa iyo. Yan na Dolores pala.
Di ba may dana naman ang nera parang rapid antigen test kit kanan ASF, di ba may dana?
May dana.
So mas madagmit na ma-detect
may dana. Pag nagpa-rapid, confirmatory anay. Confirmatory pa.
Parang ano la naman, parang COVID la naman.
Vice, may suggestion.
Yes, go ahead, Honorable Sir.
May suggestion na Doc dyan. Kasi sa rin panim, natikaran ni haaton. Bisan kita di maginula to confirmatory test iton kanan region. Itato lakalawan, basta iti clinical indication, manifestation talaga kanan hayo pagkalaw, as an ITI, kanan ESF, dapat ang mga nearest sa natin boundary, i-inform good hira diritso nga ikamu for kaling nila kamo kasi aton na oranahin kasi ipinakikita at clinical manifestation ng mga kabaktinan itaton dapig ng mga bungto asya naman kaya tarani para maproteheran tapay aton iba sa ngani suggestion ko dok diyan nga ito na naton pero kay nagpaka-quarantine mga iyan naton geotagging naton border barangays ang mga kabaktinan para at least mabuligan tayra daman diretso. Asala Vice, thank you.
Sige, thank you. Any more comments, questions, suggestion? Aton City Veterinary Officer, Doc John, before we excuse him. Alright na? So again, Doc John, thank you very much. Hindi mo oras, kaya hindi mo pag-update haamon. And Doc, at kung sinisiring ordinance at kinhanglanon or resolution, pahibaruan na lang kami kung ano para largo naman mahimuan. Itamon na sunod nga session is next Wednesday, next week. Tapos sunod na may Friday na. So kung kailanganin madagmit, pwede tayo singit Wednesday para largo tayong mahimuan. Makabulig naman kita natin mga grazers. Ano Doc, pahibaruan kami. Tapos yung mo funding.
Marga kinakatan na content parang may buta.
Tapos ito kayong sinisiring na funding, pahibaruan naman kami kung nakatip ka ng lang funding, eh, may istorya kita kan mayor para i-revert namon mga emergency mga kailangan in funds. Pahibaruan kami. Anytime la, Doc.
Thank you guys. Okay, thank you. Thank you po.
Thank you, Doc. Thank you very much.
Vice, may kupakianakan, Doc. Tipakianalakan, Doc. Kung kailangan pa ba, Doc, mag-declare kita ang city government so ganang province of Eastern Samar nga we are under a state of calamity para kita makagamitan pondo. The same han province ya. Inagsugad dira bakay kamay na declaration ko na national kay nag-declare naman national government nga and we are under a state of calamity. Kinahanglan papunuhan probinsya mag-declare. Kinahanglan taba daman yan mga LGUs mag-declare para magamit natin itaton kan quick reaction fund. QRF itaton itaton kanan PIDRIM o CDRRIM o iton imo opisina.
I think so, attorney, pero I'm not very familiar, attorney, kasi anakit pa kay Baro, ma-declare na pakada na
okay. At least ready lang kita. Ready lang kita.
Sige lao.
Pero dito mag-andam, in kaso paada natin ko, dito na kita makapag-declare.
Clear para magamitan ng.
Pero I think covered na kita iton ang province na era declaration han state of calamity han province. I think
kay supposed to be as tama yan. I agree with that logic kasi pero kay ang national nag-declare naman yet inaaruan lagi appear ang province in provincial declaration. So in the same by analogy parang maaro lagi apita aton. Maaro pero ready lang kita kasi anyway natin tulos man tayo niyan.
Sige, prepare lang kita. Or may gasto kung ba sirig pa. Sige. So any more questions, suggestions? Parena. So Doc Jan, thank you very much nga how. Basta pa baro wala kami kung ano ta mahipupulik. Tapos ang kantong polo ngayon palihugak.
Okay. Bye.
Sige. Thank you Doc. Thank you.
Thank you po.
So Madam Floor Leader. Honorable Cainday.
Honorable Presiding Officer, since we are already done with Dr. Jan Ang, we have also our representatives from RHU and our IETF chairman to give us an update regarding our COVID situation in Borongan City. So we call on Dr. Kelly Cainday first to give us an update.
Sige, Doc Kelly.
Hello po, good morning everyone. I'd like to share na lang po ako amon slides ginhimo ko na lang nga
sige, continue.
So po ini weekly nga amon pag-trace nga pag-track ngayon. So makikita naton it aton growth steady di nga ni kita nagplaplateau na tikataas la po kita. Week 3 of May nag-start kami pakapansin nga nadamo talaga na aton cases. Kanan antigen po ini duro-diretso kita. So it man pinakadamo po nga dahan kaya na nga June nga barangay Sonco 19. This is only to show nga tikang puhan May nga da ka as of now 184 po it aton totalan antigen positives. Ini naman po it aton kanang PCR. It amon po nagiging problem yan na it capacity natin to test with PCR kasi diri po ginre-recognize hit DOH, hit Provincial Health Office, hit PESU, hit RESU, ini po hit Provincial Epidemiology and Surveillance Unit, hit Regional Epidemiology and Surveillance Unit, diri nila ginre-recognize it aton antigen as positive. Gintatagman la po itiya as COVID probable. Pero let's not be confused minso meron nga probable diri po it karigsigin nga iti literal meaning nga probable ini-equate la po itiya to probable kay nga term like itiya case definition like itiya COVID tapos iti raman tatawag nga confirmed it PCR pero diri naman po itiya karigsigin nga confirmatory it PCR kun habaga asa iti ra na recognize kay PCR lagi po it best however ini ang kanan June aton PCR positives. So hain na hiadi. Ini po diditligid may data 37 as of June nga immediately lagin PCR 37 nga positive. Tapos may tamanga na antigen nga na PCR 55 and positive han antigen nga nagpositive ang PCR. May data 60 nga positive an antigen nga either wala naka PCR or na PCR pero negative na. That doesn't mean po nga false positive an aton antigen kasi itamon po pinana antigen niya na mga bulig po yung cluster. So ano po cluster? Ngin may da na 2 or more nga nagkakasakit hit balay tapos may da na positive. So makaduha nga positive dili balay, siguraduha kit kuan it nga true positive talaga itiya nga may nira COVID. Nag-change na po kami strategy hit amon approach ini nga COVID pati amon pagtitrace kung hinit gin papan quarantine kasi we believe nga mutant po aton strain dila kami nakakapag genome testing. So kuan po nga third generation yan.
Hello.
Damo po aton positive siya na. So if, as you can see didi po hininga side halos nga tanan nga barangays may ada po natin cases. Kung natetest lang naman nga ni actually nga tanan, magta times 10 nga at number of cases. So I just want to highlight na as of June, ang aton total nga positives nga da pala yan, mid pala kita June, 152 na. Opo. Tapos kung i-add po ini nga PCR nga ini nga PCR purely nga antigen nga nagpositive in PCR, that is 55 plus 37. 92 cases na mid pala kita hit June. Ang aton pinakataas po nga case disregarding June was January this year. 82 cases po at for the entire January. So yan na 92 cases kita nga PCR positives as of na po ini. This is very alarming. Kay maghuhuman ng tapa po bulan hit June, magmamamanda mo in. And as I project, kung mag-continue po ini nga aton rising cases, by August siguro makita kita yung 500 cases to 800 cases for August. I am expecting po kung matatagan lang kita hin slots for PCR, makita po talaga kita aton weekly rising cases nga by the hundreds po kita hiton per week. Ay ni mo aton kanan may in comparison po ang aton po total nga nag-positive including antigen 81. Entire May na po ini. Compared po aton kanan June 152 nga kabutngaan pala kita. Bali doble na aton niya na. So if ever hopefully di rin maging exponential aton growth aton cases kay di po kita kakaakos. So aton facilities po yan na ya dayton hiya. Kanan mga cases in COVID, kanan mga SI and travelers. So in nga new Borongan isolation facility, siya po yung dito Arayo panit nga may aircon. 3 na la po aton available. 28 bed capacity po iton, tulo na let aton available. Ang CGSO, dilet may da pulis sa motor pool, 4 na la po available. Ahil as 1, 2 na la po available. Ha JTR, daro damo pa pero gipapasui kasi it dito. Nakakapag-capacitate ha aton niya na pan-isolate it JTR kaya ta pa man butang kasi 81 po over 131 beds it aton capacity for positive cases. Kung mapapansin niyo may data 92 may data mga PCR positives nga 92. Pero it aton niya adit aton facility is only 81 kasi adto po inhirat igriba nga mga either at the hospital or nagkamamatay. As of now, next po aton travelers, 22 over 42 aton capacity. Tulo sa San Jose, 8 may Pangdan, 11 na Santa Fe. Hira po ini yung mga travelers nga diri coordinated or waray nira mga PCR nga dara nga negative. So kaya pa man, hopefully diri hira magdinamo pag pinanguli kay may mamaratron la. Hindi rin ginaalaw po pamatron. So, adi naman po slide hit. Di rin po niya i-update kay malangan po mag-update it amon online database. So, it nakasulat as of May 29 pero as of yan na po ito actually.
As of today. Oh, sige.
Opo, as of today. So, an amon deaths right hindi kahibutang an bago yan na nga lilima. Hindi determine pa po kasi kung pwede na ma-declare as COVID death. Pero yes, that is COVID death na abala na nasangit la po kami technicalities na ginaaro DOH. So yan na po aton age group. Kada man hit aton po females 20 to 34 years old aton damo ngayon syempre siya nga 13 nga medyo may daan na edad. Hit aton males naman po distributed up to 50s. It aton cases. As to source, wala naman pag-update. it aton source yan na irrelevant na po it pag tinuroy kay super transmission po kita, super community transmission. So dira na po nga ni namon gin aabalahan kung hino kang nahiya pakakuha kay pagkukulaw namon hit cases tagtulo it iya index may dan una iya nga tutulungan na expose siya. So wala na po gamit it amon na yan na very reactive makabulig-bulig naman la pag-iban hit pagsasarang kay pag pinan-isolate na up to third generation. As of yesterday, nga kinulawan nga kanan last week namon nga data, 1,131 po ang amon pinan-isolate det mga balay. We can only go so far po hini kasi diri naman po natin kakayahan pag pinapandarahay rin food packs ng mga relief goods. Actually na-empty na po it CDRR hit ground floor. So hit comorbidities po guti ila po it may comorbidity nga nagpa-positive kasi itigri ba nananago naman la diri po kami nagpapakatigo na kung ano ini kung talaga ba nga may dahinira mga COVID di na nam natetest naniniri man pagpapatest. So kakilawan ko lang po kung pipiran amon deaths kung may kikitaon nga mga ngaran paki-ignore kay di ko man matanggal. So ini po nga deaths diri pa niya updated as I said kasi wala pa kami pakakakuhan confirmatory kung talaga nga COVID talaga in hiya. So ang aton po total confirmed cases ya ada 313 na po iton PCR la po kasi itiya. May dapuhin namon tracker kanan just me. Diri ko naabar. Borongan. Diri naman hiya may 29 as of present po ini hiya. So yan na po, sa itapan ng pa-positive antigen, mamanda mo lagha po it females, tapos anan positive ang PCR, 51%, anang negative 20.5%. Waray ka PCR, saying daman 20.5%. Ini nga 7.7%, ubos po yung nira diwo. Pero may dako na po advanced copy, han mga diwo nga results. Yung text po kasi haakon ni Secretary Ikot Petilia. So, pinakadamo lagi, Sonco, ang buti nga ang barangay. Kinanap mo 8 cases.
Awit paglakat ada.
Opo. Siya po. Pero it maupay na lapuhin kay diri alarming it Sonco because kalatla hiya. Unlike po it San Saturnino nga ya ada talaga hit ira main barangay nagkukumpul po iton hira nga mga positives si hit barangay. Pero hindi na lapit iyo Kalawi na akon side. So ini asya nalapit atan kukulawan, pwede po maghatag iyuhin copy, hard copy nga updated. Base aware po kamo kunahain. As of now, nag-geotagging kami in household mismo kunahain it positives per barangay. We are coordinating po with CDRR kay may daan na po hit ni GIS hit mga households. Pero di pa nauhuman kasi sawang. Sige pa po kasi distributein mga food packs. So hopefully by next week or after 2 weeks, may makakapag-update na po kaiyuhin. Mapipinpoint po natin mismo kung hain nga balay it nga positive per barangay. So for now, nagsa-start na po kami. Next week po, ma-resume it amon per barangay nga mass testing. Kaya as of yesterday po, habubo po ang turnout ng barangay Sonco. Duduhalaan nagpa-test, mga negative pa. Pero may na mga positives kakulop, didaham ESPPO ngayon hadar. Kaya na-accept na po kami na request in offices kung may magsakit na ira para ipan-test. Attorney suyot nga po na iya talaga gimpiritan iya mga staff and good maupay nala po kay nakasigurado kami nga tuhay didahan ira office ora nan positive uusala ang pinasitive hadto I think or duha. So next week naman magba-start na po kami hit unang po kasi akon disaster yung mga barangay. So that's Sonco, Sabang North, Lalawigan, Campisao, Balud, San Saturnino. Asya po nakikulawan. Pero kukulawan ta po yan ha. Ay nga da po ka Sunday, sige mit amon pag tinan-receive mga positives. Live po ini nga amon data. So nagbabaguhiya, pwede ko maliwat po it akong priority barangays to test. And maaron lang kami iyo support kay super undermanned na kami. Nagmamas testing nga ni kan gintuturo nga nam it testing team it contact tracing team, nga hit patient management team. Like yesterday, tagduha-duha kami katawula per area. Diri naman nakakos kay da mga positive na it took us, I think, 6 hours or 7 hours para lahin sa ka-area panginanuhan mga positives. Then, diretso again pagabi, nagsusunod-sunod pa ang mga patay. So, final note po, matikada mo pit atan cases, tapos nakita na po kita ng mga deaths, though mga senior man po ini, alarming lagi po kay di hanuna atan mga senior di may namamatay. So, mutant po atan variant. Ipapa-genome sequencing na po naman kung matagan na kami hin slots for PCR.
Sige, sige. Thank you very much, Doc Kelly. Any doc na mo ihatag bisan email ayo na hard copy para di ka na kurian. Paki-email na lang either kang Kathlyn na lang pag-distribute ta ang pag-email.
Sige.
Sorry. Para di ka na kurian. So, ano any questions from the members? Suggestions? Ano tayo masisiring? Go ahead. Attorney Cainday. Madam Floor Leader.
Okay. Honorable Presiding Officer, I would like to ask for an update of the number of Boronganons who have received their first doses of vaccination and those who are fully vaccinated.
Okay. Attorney Devora na lapot ma-update ko no kay it-access nga dihit nga BIMS, Vaccine Information Management System. Diri po kasi nga tanan nakaka-access nga to. Adto with it kompleto. Hit prior to vaccination, hit mga post vaccination adto po it nga tanan. Ako wala ko po hit access pero may danan ni Attorney Devora.
Okay, sige. So Attorney Deborah. Romeo,
Good morning. Good morning po kayong mga tanan. Ako po chairman at Public Health and Safety Task Force, and I would like to report po on two things po. Number one, it aton update and other developments po with regard it aton implementation, it aton modified enhanced community quarantine. And at the same time po, it aton po update it aton vaccination program. So on to the first topic lanay po kita natin implementation ng MECQ. Since this is the first time po that I will be reporting for the updates before the Sangguniang Panlungsod, I would like to clearly emphasize po muna the purpose why we placed Borongan City under MECQ. For the number one po, ang una tanga purpose was really it was not really to prohibit people from going out of their homes. Although under the executive order by the city mayor, there are really some prohibitions on some of our people, lalong-lalo na below 18 years of age and above 65 years of age. Pero it was really to regulate the activities that we consider as super spreaders, because based po on amon meeting, as specifically reported an aton treasurer's office, we really have to balance out pag-implement it aton quarantine protocols, because for the information of everyone, it aton po collection ng aton revenue hit City of Borongan ada pala po 18%, 18%. So with this data po, we really deemed magkamay ada kiten aton some modifications han mga prohibitions nga aton nag-i-impose during the implementation of the MECQ. So ano po ang nahinabo? Because of the rising number of COVID-19 cases, nagkaurisa po ang body and City Interagency Task Force, of course with the leadership of our City Mayor Sadac and Agda, nga ipailarom ang Borongan han MECQ. So we have tapped several of our uniformed personnel coming from, of course, number one, at our police, city police, nag-ask liwat kita po in augmentation coming from the Eastern Samar Police Office, na mag-augment po hira din hiya Borongan, because compromised liwat po ang number han aton police din yan syudad because some of their personnel have tested positive for COVID-19. So nakaaro po kitahin 20 policemen as augmentation forces din hipuan syudadan Borongan. So ikaduha po nga inaruan bulig ang aton 78 IB nga pinangungunahan ni Colonel Alvior kundi naghatag po hiya sa kaplatoon para po ma-deploy around our poblasyon and of course dito aton mga border. Number 3, nag-commit liwat po ang Coast Guard. Naghatag po hirahin 5 personnel kay guti man la po hira. Naka-deploy po naman hirahan poblasyon area. Of course, ang aton BFP, ang aton Bureau of Fire, naghatag liwat po hirahin 14 ka personnel nga nabulig dito ang aton deployment. So, kung iyo po maobserbaran, may ada po mga different deployment areas around the poblasyon. Ano po ang purpose ini? It is to filter out and implement to the letter an aton executive order. Number 1, specifically, it was really to force people because based po naman observation, may na po sinisari nga fatigue hining pagtaga minimum health standard protocols, and because of our complacency, because for the longest time nakadakitahan low risk category waray sugad kadamo nga kaso, diri nagdamo nag-observe han minimum health standard protocol. So asa po ang purpose was really to police people in practicing the minimum health standard protocols. And so far po, based amon assessment and reports po coming from the ground, siguro masisiring po namon nga 95% compliant man po aton mga tao. I don't know if this is coming from the fear han aton COVID situation or fear nga itaton uniformed personnel are really visible in the hit ground. Pero just the same po, I think we are really hitting or we are really achieving the goal of the MECQ because relatively po mas good iyan na itaw nga adhagawas kung may naman po kung kikitaan ta ang pamalit, ang paggrocery, ang pag-opisina, ang pagkaon man la po anatan kinikita. Gatherings such as or gatherings tagged as mass gatherings and mga parties and mga conferences and whatsoever po. Since prohibited po, I think we have been 100% an aton pag-implement hini. So kapag kaya na po, based po amon meeting kakalop, an aton city mayor, nagkakamayada po kami shift han strategy because an amon po tahat initial plan was really while the city is under the modified enhanced community quarantine, we really go ngadtuhan ground pag mass testing, lalong-lalo na haton mga high risk nga barangays nga identified na natin CESU as headed of course by Dr. Kelly Cainday. Pero po supposedly yesterday po was the start of our mass testing. Igin-conduct po barangay Sonco. Pero unfortunately po, out of thousands of residents atin barangay Sonco, only 2 individuals submitted themselves for the antigen swabbing. What is the possible or what was the possible reason why waray po nagpresent or nagsubmit hanira mga kalugaringan pagpatest? Number 1, it's the fear of being isolated at an isolation facilities because diri man gud hiya sugad ka komportable mga tagsa-tagsa ta nga mga balay. Number 2, nahadlikliwat po hira kung ano po magiging parang stigma it sayak na nahirit mga tao, and at the same time mga chismis syempre ira family etc. So ano po amo nagiging proposal yan coming from the Public Health and Safety Task Force, although this has yet to be decided of course by the city mayor and of course to be approved by the city interagency task force. So the only way itaman kinikita kasi is the only way that we can really see the situation of Borongan that is data-driven, that is based on real data and kung ano talaga itungod, is really to test people as many as we can. But we cannot really do this if it's stigma, it fear, and all the hesitancy because of several factors. So we would like to attack these several factors by suggesting that once ang isang tao or isang individual nag-test positive for COVID-19, we will already allow home isolation. Pero this is yet to be approved. This is just a proposal. Why? Because if people will know, if people will realize that pwede na nga yan at home isolation for those who test positive for COVID-19, they will be encouraged to submit themselves for testing because at the comfort of their homes, pwede po hirang mag-isolate. We know that halimbawa ang isang family, may da isang nag-positive era out of 6 sira. We know that it nga nahibilin nga 5 nga magne-negative will also take care of themselves. Maghihirot liwat po hira. So, asitatam kareg nga atake, although this has to be polished yet, kay number 1, ang aton pagbantay han mga households nga may da nag-positive in aada asit ang number 1 concern. So, hain kami matap, diri pa kami maaram if the barangay can really, police or monitor anton mga households kung diin may da mga positive to refrain them from going out once may da positive di nga household. So, this is just a consideration and I would like to give this as an advance information nga pwede ta pag-irestoryahan once nag-convene po or gin-convene ang aton city mayor and city interagency task force. So we believe that this is a risk. We believe that this is 50-50. If we can perfect this, if we can ma-plan sa tight nitty-gritty hini nga plano, I think a lot of people will really come forward and get tested. So at least itatan magiging atake, itatan COVID response would be really the real score that is data driven again. So we will still have a preliminary meeting with the task force, of course, with our city mayor, because saring pa man ni Doc Kelly kanina, our policies, our response are ever changing depending po itatan situation on the ground. So kapag kaya na po itatan po MECQ will be until June 26, 2021. So again, the possibility of the same being extended is andyan pa. The possibility is still there because we have not yet seen the situation of Borongan improving. Pero rest assured po coming from the task force, coming from the Borongan contact tracing team that our assessment will be based on data. Kung ano po kinikita data coming from the ground, coming from the contact tracing team, asya po gagamitan ng assessment. There will be no, actually waray na nga hinkuan on because sa totoo lang po, our personnel, lahat po ng personnel natin are already fatigued. We are experiencing fatigue because ginadang mga pong aspeto it kinokonsidera in implementing these kinds of restrictive protocols. Pero just the same po I would like to assure the body, I would like to assure the Sangguniang Panlungsod that the commitment of the task force as led of course by our city mayor is still there. We do not even if it's tiring, we cannot be tired para la ma-arrest ini nga aton problema hit pag-surge at COVID-19 din Again, it pagdamo po hit kaso din this is not just about Borongan po In fact po today 30 individuals tested positive for COVID-19 hagiwan.
Yes.
So if only Borongan will be strict, it will be useless because based hit atin protocols hit ginpapalusad hit national ATF, we cannot really hamper the movement of people, especially now that economy na hit atin gani irestoryahan. So I don't know how we can really motivate other municipalities, other LGUs from really implementing strictly hit atin minimum health standard protocols. Pero just the same, as far as Borongan is concerned, we are very committed po. And we will not stop until this problem or dilemma is resolved. So siguro po later on I will answer some questions or clarifications po regarding it MECQ. But of course most importantly, I would like to give update na onto the second issue po, which is an ating vaccination program. Attorney Honorable Cainday, as much po as I would like to give you the real, the exact number of individuals, I tried accessing po the VIMS, which is the data po that was prepared or that is being used to store data for those who were already vaccinated per LGU. Pero upon checking po, haray pa po ka-update. Pero I can give you po at least a rough estimate kung pera na po atin nababakunahan. So far po, based po ang amon last nga tali and gin-add na po naman natin mga recent nga mga vaccination nga nahinabo din nga Borongan, more or less po aranin na po kita mag 7,000. This is yet far from our goal nga maka-reach in 40,000 at least 40,000 vaccinated individuals by the time that this year ends. I would also like to update you with regard po an ating procurement, ating pinapalit ng Novavax.
Yes.
Actually po, we are waiting. We are in the waiting game level because their commitment was really on the third quarter. But based po aman nakikita ang mga news blitz with regard to Novavax, nagkakaproblema po ata hirahit EUA that is being granted by the US and other stringent bodies in mga different countries. Because just to summarize kung anit nga process, kung ito sa kasi nga pharmaceutical company nga or sa nga vaccine company, if you call that as such, nga nag-a-apply hin emergency use din Philippines, kung may na po nila na grant nga EUA coming from a stringent body sa nga country, di rin na po makore or di rin na po maiha pag-approve it FDA hit Pilipinas. So siya po itira din nagkakaproblema. Pero waray pa man po nila update with regard to further extending timeline nga ginset for Borongan nga makapag-deliver hirin 40,000 doses for 20,000 Boronganons. Again, all our options are being explored. The city mayor even instructed me to explore the idea of securing the Moderna vaccine if possible. Kung posible pa, the doors are still open. On our end po, we are doing our best kung ano po pwede ta makuha as of this time because almost all of the LGUs and other private sectors have already ordered from different manufacturing companies. So again, we're still hopeful that Novavax will be able to deliver on their commitment that they will give Borongan the 40,000 doses third quarter of this year. So I will just give you I will just furnish the body han data once we have already the data han mga vaccinated Boronganans are already or is already uploaded an atin data tracker. I will just furnish your office po, all your offices, and of course an atin Vice Mayor's office. So if as far as I'm concerned po, I do not have any more update, pero I can answer po some of your questions and point for clarifications. Again po, Thank you very much, and let's all stay safe. Thank you po.
Okay, so we have Attorney Cainday, may pakiana, and then Attorney Suyot. Attorney Cainday first.
So I have a question, kay Romeo. You said that the rough estimate of the people who are vaccinated in Borongan is around 7,000. Can you give us a rough estimate? Kung perahit nga 7,000 have been given the first dose of vaccination, or those who have been given second doses or are fully vaccinated? And then second question, regarding our Novavax procurement, if possible. You were saying we are getting 40,000 doses. Is the Novavax vaccine, does it only require one dose of vaccination or dapat 2 doses? Kasi if 2 doses, dapat 80,000.
Yes.
And then last question, sorry, 3 questions. Last question is, any updates on the parang upcoming number of vaccines that will be given to Borongan for first dose and second doses? Thank you, Honorable Presiding Officer.
Thank you, Honorable Cainday. Attorney Deborah.
Thank you po, Honorable Attorney Cainday, for that questions. On to the first question po, if I can give a rough estimate. As much as I want to give you a rough estimate, as far as I know, I'm hesitating po, or diri po makakapaghatag, because I might be wrong, and I really want to give you the real numbers. Actually, I have already asked Dr. Trish Apita to give us the numbers, pero I received no reply yet. Can I just, Honorable Attorney Cainday, can I just ask for at least a day to be able to secure the data from our doctors, and maybe we can request from the Provincial Health Office, so that I can furnish you, and maybe next session I can present the real numbers para po mas updated kita, and we really know the exact data. For the second question po, regarding Novavax, the Novavax requires 2 doses, just like the AstraZeneca, the Sinovac, and Pfizer, and other vaccines. So we ordered 40,000 doses. Yeah, we ordered 40,000 doses for 20,000 Boronganons. So why did our order decrease from the original plan of 30,000 to 20,000 na lang? It was because of the ongoing vaccination program by the city. Hatun vaccines coming from the national government, because nakita because our consideration before was ma-order ang city in 30,000, because the presumption before was waray good ihahatag ang national government. Kung may man, it will be very late in this year that we will be given, because diri kita priority, because NCR is the priority, Cebu and Davao. Pero because we have seen that sige-sige man ngayon ipanhatag it vaccines at national government, although diri sugad kadamo, napupunan adto nga 10,000 nga waray ta na order. That's why, in order naman that the LGU can save, we decreased our order from 60,000 doses to 40,000 doses for 20,000 Boronganans na lang. As to the update naman po on how many vaccines and at what vaccines will arrive in Borongan for next week, we are very dependent and reliant po on the information given to us by the PHO. And they are also very reliant and dependent on the information that will be given to them by the regional office of DOH. So actually po, Honorable Attorney Cainday, danay nga ni po, very late po it notice, danay 2 days prior po it pag-deliver kami na hibabaro. And even last time, danay 1 day la po before paghatag, nahibabaro kami kung pera and ano nga vaccine. So I cannot really give po an update kung may da po madatong, pero we're hopeful because based po han news article nga ginawas yesterday, may da po 1.5 million nga Sinovac doses nga inabot sa Pilipinas. And based po hit trend nga kinikita, once nga may da po nadatong ha Pilipinas nga vaccines, lalo na AstraZeneca and Sinovac, few days after po, nga di po ha province, region lanay then province. So siguro we can give an update po next week kung may da po maabot din niya atin nga doses in Sinovac. So that's all po. Thank you.
Thank you, Attorney Deborah. So, are you done, Honorable Kidan?
Yes, thank you, Honorable Presiding Officer.
Okay, so ngari kita kan Attorney Suyot. Attorney Suyot,
Thank you, Mr. Presiding Officer. To Attorney Deborah, I think we should take advantage of our declaration as under MECQ, the reclassification of Borongan City under MECQ, because under the new guidelines by ETF and the recent pronouncement of the President and even by the DOH and Secretary Galvez, that we will prioritize those under MECQ. Although the recent declaration does not include the city of Borongan. But however, under our executive order, we place the city under an MECQ. And for that reason, we can lobby. We can ask from the DOH, from Secretary Galvez, and the IETF for more vaccine allocation for Borongan City. And by the way, I would like also to include this in our calculation, because not all Boronganon are staying in Borongan for the time being. They are working either in Cebu, they are working in Davao, they are working in Manila, and in other urban centers here in the Philippines, and even abroad. So we have to deduct them, because from this, I have received an information that even today, Moderna has arrived in Manila, and shipping companies in Manila are now being, those applicants or those are about to board the ship are now being inquired or asked as whether or not they wanted to be vaccinated with Moderna, because Moderna, according to them, has already arrived. So, kung sugad hindi nga mga private sector, nagsigaret ka daton, I think we will be able to meet our herd immunity at the soonest possible time. Kung susugaron tayo ito, ibubulig tayo ra. Itatan siguro yan, kamay man ito, maupay kaya itatin mga taga Red Cross. Kasi sa Red Cross, sa private company manira, may damay ito nira-request na, I think 800,000 doses of Moderna vaccine. Kaya sige na ang kaabot yan ng mga private companies. Kasi ang nag-orderhan Moderna, dire ang government, ang mga private companies. Para kung may mga willing sa atin ng mga Boronganos, we will just inform them to take advantage of the arrival of this new vaccine. Aside from the other opportunities presented by our declaration under MECQ, na pwede kita mag-request an additional more vaccine from DOH or IETF, kuha at diretso ito. I suggest, Attorney Deborah, that we make the necessary communication to IETF or DOH and Secretary Galvez. Kasi a right of pronouncement, priority yan ang mga vaccine and mga MECQ areas. And that is good thing for Borongan. Kasi nakapag-declare kita nga we are under MECQ. Kasi tak nakikita naman nga aton tool. That is the best tool for us to contain the spread of COVID-19. During about this thing, it's about vaccination. The more people that we vaccinate or inoculate, the more secure we are. Kasi diri na makaradlag kasi mga asymptomatic na or mild, may nga dahil atin kuhan. Sanglit itaton gadi priority vaccination. If we can procure Moderna from other private entities, so kung may sa vaccine available, kung haunta. May iton rin na gimission Moderna kasi anhin na yan, di na to, may ko na-receive na text nga ada na yan na ginpapamakianhan na hira an mananakay kung gusto nira may da na available na hira. So kung may da mga Boronganon nga aton nga para i-minus tan hit aton quota din niya aton ha ngayon na din natin kakalawan. Kasi damo it mga taga Borongan sa rin ko pa ay nakatakloban, nagtatrabaho, Iloilo, damo iton even outside of the country ginadamo iton. Ililista na iti right aton target din ni. So akan pag kinulaw naging mamaupay nga nakapag-declare kita nga MECQ. Kasi nag-pronounce ang President, nag-pronounce si Secretary Galvez, ng DOH, ng IETF, nga ipa-priority ni rangan dudog nga allocation nga dahan mga NACQ areas.
Kasi regarding
Si
ano
Chair.
aton po han kanan Red Cross, because
Okay,
as Attorney Suyot said, ano, ang Red Cross kuno they have Moderna, but sad to note, just yesterday I've been in communication with Red Cross dinihatan na Borongan. They do have those Moderna vaccines, but they haven't, parang wala pa nag-i-issue ha era if
AUA.
i-release na hira or diri. In fact, our Red Cross volunteers in Eastern Summer already availed of the city's vaccination program kay wara hira. Bisan hira mismo wara hira pakaka-avail. So only half of the staff for Red Cross have been vaccinated, first dose pala, and the other half is waiting for the next doses of vaccines nga ikakadida man kung taha Borongan. So Moderna is good, may da siguro, but maybe not soon. I don't know. Kasi Red Cross mismo wara. So that's all. Thank you, Honorable Presiding Officer.
Thank you for the information. So, Attorney Deborah,
Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair.
sige, Honorable Arago.
Yeah. First of all, I want to commend itong atin IETF na itong atin mga health officials nga propa itong treatment itong COVID prevention and vaccination. Ang akong concern on the curative stage nga may nagkakagrabe na itong mga isolated persons with COVID nga daw la. What is the move of the provincial government, city government, pagtambal ito ng mga nagkakagrabe na. Kay hospital na, I don't know if they have, ano ba, gintatambal ito naggrabe na. Nadiri, kunta, na isolate anay, pero nagtitika grabe ito na era sitwasyon. Hadto na sa rin nga, ikinakad ito takluban, pero with the information nga dahil nga direct nga tagan islat at kariyag ingad to, ano naman itong move itong city government nga itong provincial government nga magkatambal itong dinhi. Ito na nga mga nagragrabe diri la mga tested positive nga medyo diri pa grabe. Diri pa grabe. Ang the aspect of curative stage na medata ba tambal hayra dinhi na atin local government o is there something being done by the IETF or our health doctors here nga I don't know, diakbaran po na ano tambal ito nagragrabe na. Asa natakan ka rege baroan kung kay in fact one of our SP members ni uncle kaya nga ho nagsusumat nga di daha hospital nagtitika grabe na ani nag-COVID patient titika grabe na ora napakakahinga bisan pa with the aid of an oxygen asya lagi pan pag-abat na help na ang pamilya na help na ngayon nagkantuira takluban yung nag-inquire takluban pwede karoton dito ora na daw islat dito anak naman kunta thinking ano natin bubuhatin yung mga suwad nga stage. Wala ba din himahimo within the hospital or any other means nga matambal ito nga natikagrabe nga stage din hihatin. Aside from home isolation, aside from facility isolation, aside from vaccination, ito na nga grabe. Asa takon pakiana. Post preferably ka dito atin task force nga nitong kan Dr. Kelly. So,
Vice.
Okay, sige.
I will answer first. I will answer first ang tungakan Attorney Byron Suyot question a while ago.
Sige, continue.
The truth of the matter is, Honorable Attorney Byron Suyot, I really appreciate ato nga imo suggestion to take opportunity of the declaration of MCQ. Just 2 weeks ago, the city mayor has sent an appeal to the regional Department of Health to increase the allocation of the vaccines being given to Borongan City. the mayor himself signed the request or the appeal, and we have attached therein all the necessary requirements, proving that Borongan City is more than prepared to handle big vaccination activities, because we have proven this. 1,000 vaccines were consumed in less than 7 hours because of the many vaccination sites that we have opened, of course, including an Atty drive-through. Pero because we have already, our category now, our quarantine category now is MECQ, I will take that advice, Honorable Attorney Byron Suyot, that we will again write siguro dito na national to really request Secretary Galvez and other officials concerned to increase the allocation for Borongan City. And I will suggest to Dr. Kelly that we attach documents or data that will prove nga taas na talaga yung kaso din niya city. Ato naman niya just madugang lakit yayak nun ni Doc Kelly Cainday atong pakiana ni Honorable Melcho Arago. As far as we are concerned po, because we do not have a hospital yet to treat hiton nga mga sinisering severe cases, itatan po tinihimo actually ginre-refer to aton hospitals. So as far as Borongan City is concerned, itatan na po the best that we can do is really an primary care, adituhan natin isolation facilities and pag-treat han mga symptoms. Pero more than that, ang mga ventilator, ang mga etc. I am afraid po we are not capacitated and we cannot really do something about it as of this time. That's why itong proposal, I think the establishment of our own hospital will really aid this in the future. So I will give the floor now to Dr. Kelly Cainday to discuss more on the information para nga pagre-refer kung ano at pwede mahimo and the province to be exact. Thank you po.
Sige, thank you, Attorney Deborah. Doc Kelly, Cainday.
So, opo. As of now, waray po treatment pa for COVID-19. The only way nga ginihimo, it only solution po nga actually national na iti nga ginihimo is symptomatic relief. So, ang binabatok ka, tatagang kay treatment para imo batok. However, may data po yan ang mga antivirals na gigmamahali. Multiple doses po ini. Remdesivir, diyak nakaluwas na nga ni Griba. Kuan, gigmamahali po ini hira. May da ko binati nga ESPH nakakahatag na rin remdesivir. Pero since kuan pa man lain hiya, diri pa man hiya talaga i-treatment, I think contract may naman na okay nga mga tao hit remdesivir. Hopefully it makapacitate na naman po ESPH to give more remdesivir kay nakakabulig talaga hiya. And regarding po hiton nga pagre-refer po Tacloban, yes, puno na daman po ngadto. May dalay ba nga nakakakuha hirahin room because may nira connection ngadto, ira relatives ba mga staff ngadto, so napapaboran hira. Nahita transfer gyud pa Tacloban. Yan nga ni po akon cousin from San Puli, again transfer to ESPH, diri na daman na diri kuno tuhay iti kabutang oxygen level na habubu despite oxygenation. So I am not sure kung it plano ti ESPH kung may danira available slots sa Tacloban nga mas stayan it aton positive, or kung it family mismo, immediate family hini nga ginkukurya da ESPH kung transfer nira to private. Kareg nira mag Cebu or mag Manila, it's up to them. Kung may da nira air ambulance nga makukuha kay last week, may da po taga Sabang South nakakuha rin air ambulance din sundo din niya airport naton ato na niya Chongwaya na, and I think is doing better na.
Okay. Sige. Thank you, Doc Kelly. Okay, last question, Honorable Arago.
Itong HPH, may available nga mga ventilators. I don't know kung nga usable itong odere. Kung itong lugar ito HPH, gihapon, pwede dida gumamit ng ventilators. May da kuno tutulong available, pero I don't know kung if they are being used or what, kung kulangin ano. Kung lugar isolation na di naman dapat. Siguro with this spread itong COVID-19, Eastern Samar, not only in the city, pinangalanagan kunta, may da mo mga mamayda tahiton nga mga suliton nga magkakamaya ng mga ventilators, ano? Kay katitimat oxygen, dire nga napasarat oxygen, nagtunat ventilator punta. Ngan, if it's true nga, may da din ventilators, siguro it's high time nga magamit. Magamit, di ba? Asa ba nagsunod siguro nga stage, to severe stage na maggamit na yung ventilator. Pero kung wala, siguro, I don't know what's the hope of our health officials nga kung makahimo kita yung lugar na may additional curative move itong mga nagkakagrabe, di rin nila oxygen. Kay sering panirado kili, usahay, kadamaan, maswerte, nakakakuha sila, tatakluban, ito yung mga connections, kahit may mga kaya. Ito populist naman, nga damo nga, oray connection, yung mga, yung karoon tadere, mag-okay kahimtang, mas yung problema, kasi siguro nagkakamay atanahin, may ka naman date, di ba? Date data din, may na nagkakamamatay. Ito na stage. Sa silent action, matratar ini IATF, matratar ini higher level, pinanglan na may additional curative move aside from oxygen. Tapos, hingad to naman in ventilators o iba pa ng mga curative states. As sila. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Arago. Actually, aton LGU, siya namin itimbubuhat yan, especially nga naghihimo na kita aton hospitals. Tipakanto na manggod talaga ini, although marami ka pagko-construct, tag-iha man. So hopefully, kaya giniikag namin, priority project man ini aton mayor, giniikag namin mahuman na ini. So makakuha na kita yung mga suggestion ni Honorable Melcho Arago. Atty. Byron, Honorable Suyot. Sige, last.
Thank you, Vice. Thank you. Last. I would like to inform this August body regarding the actions that have been undertaken by the provincial government in improving the facilities at our hospitals. There is under construction now a COVID ward here kasi diri man po makapagpahimo ngin diri subay specs iton DOH mas halin kag-istrikto hira. Ada na ito na ongoing na mahuman na. Pero ito natin naman mga equipment, tama ito, may talida mga ventilators. And this time around, we focus more on the purchasing for additional ventilators for the provincial hospitals. Kasi sering pa natin, at least may naman natin din ipanapitapi. Although we do not have the financial capacity nga mapalit ta itong diritso. Kasugahit kada mga hitaten ideal na karuyag. Kasi tigda may nga pandemic kadina ton diri sugay iton kamang kabarato makagamit nga diri itong sugad kamang ka-available right kay this is not only unique to the province of Eastern Samar, to the city of Borongan. This is a worldwide issue and concern. Pero sering pa, ginpapakaupay na ito. Damo na ito yan na dito hagiwan. Nagput up undergoing na nila construction han Kuika. Will be having another tertiary hospital in the province of Eastern Samar aside from SPH. Nga di SPH, pinufokusan talaga ito. Karayag ito ni Governor Bardoni nga magkapagpuang pakitahin 4-story building dida nga first class services. Although nagkukulang pakitin mga doctors, but it aton ang programa puro sa iti pakadto. Nga pinufokusan talaga ni pundo. Ngan ginaasikaso ito and we have connected with the governor, connected with other offices, senators, and even to the president himself. Nga buligan good ito Eastern Samar. Although isa rin pa man bisa nga ni Manila nga giguupay mga hospital, yet the fatalities continues. Kaya laghap ito continuous kasi talaga ini nga sakit. Maggrabe ka nga ni may nira nga ni di man kakayanon itaton din nga liniplitian in 1 million. Itaton programa yan na itaton planning na yan na nag-adapt na kita ang sitwasyon. Ginpofokusan talaga yung probinsya nga makapakita kita hindi daw pang mga pasyente. In COVID cases din hiya aton na province. Aside nga may daya na ongoing maaral tiradukili. Ada ito niya na Vice for the information of everyone. may dito niya di na hospital. Sana maman na ito niya na. Kasi gi-strictuhin DOH when it comes to the construction of hospital or COVID facilities. Kinanglan based on their specification.
Yes, okay. Thank you. And more information.
Kung as possible, let us avoid kung ano nga physical contact o congregating in a specific place. O iiwasan tala na itong tama itong nga o maupay ko ato nga bawal muna itong mga meeting, mga kuhan kasi talaga nagiging super spreader yung mga event or activity. Kasi taton gid kasi ta kaya regihang yo aton problem kita nga pagkanggitat mga mulupyo din nga Borongan nga maghirot good. Kay nga revelation niya na nga ginsaring ni Dr. Kelly makaharadlok iton alarming yan nga off the record la iton nga ano makaharadlok yan in 1 week. In 1 week. Haradlok iton. Thank you, Vice.
Thank you.
Off the record lad, off the record. Thank you.
Anyway, clarification to la ano. Taga IATF ng Doc Kelly. Ini nga ating lockdown is, I know it's effective, di ba? Pero kasi dinesiring pa kanina din sa Eastern Samar, hitikala at nag-i-stricto. Kahit iba nga LGU, nag-spike up na naman it era cases, di ba? So what if kung mahumantayin nga at lockdown, tapos ito ibang LGU, nag-i-spike, nag-continue pag hataas it era cases, may data na ba preparation ito regarding it or study? Aton hit preparation para it sugad it. Siyempre, after lockdown, maharmabubo it aton cases. Pero it may iwasan nga mag-spike up na naman kita ibang LGU, di ba?
Yes, Vice. Aside actually amon isang problema kung pagaan hunta pag nila ka proteher it Borongan City. Because sa totoo lang actually gikukurigan because damay it factors mga legal impediments, more on legalities pag implemented mga protocols. And we are bound to abide kung ano man it protocols nga may da. Otherwise, we will be subject to sanctions administratively, maybe criminally naman. So actually, that's one of the challenges that we are facing right now on how we can really, or effectively protect Borongan without, of course, going outside, the mandate of the relevant laws and issuances. Again, it akin lahat may sisiring hit August body before the Sangguniang Panlungsod. Our commitment to really come up with an efficient solution that will serve not only the Boronganans but of course it aton mga neighboring municipalities because kung it Borongan protected it ibaliwat nga mga munisipyo that are our trading partners will also benefit from us. So siguro I don't know, maybe we can make a move directed of course to the provincial government or other LGUs that magkamay adin unified stand on how we can really arrest this COVID-19. So yun, actually we will just update you Vice and the members of the Sangguniang Panlungsod on the development. Okay po.
Vice.
Thank you, Vice.
Vice, in addition ito, gin-monitor na talaga kita yan itaton mga IETF focal persons in the province, Dr. Delgado, gin-monitor talaga itong sitwasyon. Hindi kita as policy makers of the government, naghulat lang naman kita itira recommendation na atan. Kung mag-recommend nila nga ibutang itong probinsya under MACQ status, we will do that. Kasi tamid ginihinulat. Kung ano ito recommendation na natin mga expert, so kada Dr. Kelly, Rator ni Deborah, kaya ramit takapot hini nga issue pag taga-COVID. Kung ito recommendation sugad na ito, and the right spike of cases na nakikita natin throughout the province, which is very alarming, and the number of fatalities in Borongan alone, which is 7 cases as of today, makaharadlok yan. Makarayak na hulo pakipon. Magboboroblig at kita ito, magboboroblig.
In addition also, kasi medyo nag-focus lang kita nga di protection hining nga COVID. Also, pag na ay taliwat kung ano tatan may himo kay labi na nga tatan ekonomiya daman kay nagsasuffer naman gud yan kung paano ta ma-minimize impact hining mga MACQ, hining mga lockdown kay pag ambot may data ba yung possibility nga mag-extend it aton lockdown MACQ?
Actually, Vice, the task force is open to extend really. Actually, the original plan was to place Borongan under MECQ until June 30. That was the original plan. Pero we wanted to at least give muna 14 days to really assess. Anamon kung that initial plan, anamon naging decision was 14 days laanay, then we see it from there kung mag-i-improve its situation. Pero with the rate that we are going right now, there is an imminent possibility that we will extend. Pero depende po, maybe there will be some modifications. So depende po talaga hit magiging development it atin number of cases na matatali in the next coming days.
Yes. So, sige. So, any more questions from the other members? Honorable Limbauan, wala na pakiana?
Wala na, President.
Alright na, sige. So again, Attorney Deborah and Dr. Cainday, thank you very much sa iyo oras, sa iyo paghatag gani. And again, we would like to commend iti yung bubuhat nga trabaho din ha. Ato na LGU, ato na Borongan, very effective manggod and efficient yung trabaho. Although, sirig pa kanina ni Attorney Cainday, ni Doc Kelly, kulang manggod kita manpower. Medyo na-overwhelmed na ating mga employee darahin ng effective COVID. Pero sige la, yung tatrabaho taman kung ano natin makaya. So again, thank you very much to you, trabaho. And congratulations.
Thank you, Vice. Thank you po kayo nga tanan. Thank you po.
Thank you, Mahaw. Excuse na kamo for now. So, Madam Floor Leader.
Honorable Presiding Officer, since our city engineering is having difficulty with their connection, I move that we lift the suspension of our internal rules of procedure so that we can proceed with our session.
Seconded.
Any objections? None. So the temporary suspension of our internal rules hereby lifted. Next item, Mr. Secretary. Announcement. Any announcement from the members? What an announcement? Next item, Mr. Secretary.
Adjournment.
Madam Floor Leader.
Honorable Presiding Officer, I move for the adjournment of our 89th regular session.
Any second?
Seconded.
Any objections? None. So our 89th regular session is now adjourned. Again, pag kinayla kita atin mga gios, atin mga pang-adlaw-adlaw nga trabaho kay natin kada mo mga din nga atong cases din ha Borongan. Actually diri la din ha Borongan kundi bukus tang Region 8. So hinay-hinay la kita kung diri kinahanglan gumawas ay kita pag kinagawas.
With the truth.